Hi everyone. I hope you guys are well. This is Shandi Sabzwari. Welcome to the 16th session of the Art Lounge Talks. And as you can see, something is different. The screen is horizontal today because we have an interesting surprise for you guys. We have an amazing person with us today who also happens to be my best friend. She is a director, an actor, and an illustrator. And the amazing thing is that today my interview will be in person because she's right here with me. This is Zehra Nawab, everybody. Please say hello to her. She's looking beautiful in a sari, elegant as always. And so we're going to be having this interview live in person. And let's see, hopefully this format works. Hopefully it's really interesting. So as with every Art Lounge session, I'm going to introduce Zehra and then we're going to delve into the questions, right?
Sounds good.
Are you good with that? Okay, fine. Okay, so Ali Tariq is saying hello. Okay, so Zehra Nawab is an actor and director for film and theatre. She divides her time between Canada and Pakistan. Her film work focuses on subcultures and human interest stories. She's currently directing a documentary as a grant recipient from Sharmeen Abed Chinoy Films. Zehra has co-directed documentaries titled Mad Film World, Home Truths, and a short film called Farzana. Her works have been showcased at Flaherty, New York. How do you pronounce this, Zehra?
Visaf,
Vancouver, Hinterland, Venice. And Zehra received the National Agahi Award for Journalism in Culture, which is really cool. As an actor, she debuted in Pakistan's feature film directed by Nabil Qureshi, which was called Khel Khel Mein in 2021. She plays the lead in Canadian short film Spin Over, premiering in the UK in 2023. She acted in an operatic ballad play called Inder Sabha in January 2023, directed by Shiva Karmani in Karachi. And in the summers of 2023, Zehra will be seen playing the lead yet again in a theatre play called In Transit at the prestigious theatre, again, I don't know how to pronounce this, in Toronto. Okay, French term. And performing at the Velo Sound Station. So we're very excited to see her in all of those things, Zehra. Welcome to the Art Lounge Talks in person.
Finally.
My first in-person interview with my bestie, generally also as well. By the way, so we all need to congratulate Zehra because today her short film Spin Over, it's basically a finalist in the International Short Film Competition in the UK Asian Film Festival, which is a really, really cool thing.
Thank you.
And Zehra's in the lead in that, so that's something to mention. And I think with Zehra, let's start from the beginning, okay? And because your journey has been very interesting, it's not just been film and direction, right? It started with illustration and journalism.
Yeah.
So can you just kind of delve into that journey? How did that start?
So, I think with my life, it's always been, kind of really surrendering to whatever it is that life and the universe is offering at the time.
Yeah.
So I went to Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture. I studied, my major was graphic design and illustration, minor was filmmaking, and then I started working as a documentary filmmaker and an editorial illustrator. That's what my work was. But even at school level, university level, I was always acting. Theatre was something that I am immensely passionate about. Even when I was working as a journalist, it's something I took out time for. I wrote plays, I acted. But I think I always thought of it as something that would be on the side.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever imagine a life where it could be a primary job that I was doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So fast forward a few years, I moved to Canada and I was, of course, shuttling between the two places, and having moved to Canada, I think really made me. I got married and I was assessing my role in this new place and trying to navigate a new country and new career prospects. I remember I found solace and a real sense of camaraderie, and you just found a safe space in the theatre in Canada, and the people who were theatre practitioners, and there was so much acceptance and love for the stories that I was telling, the kind of acting I wanted to do. And I think that's when it kind of became sort of the central work that I was getting was acting and writing for theatre while I was still applying for journalism jobs, and I was doing smaller projects in journalism and in design. But I think I remember it was around that time that I put it out in the universe. We were as friends also sitting together, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, this is the work that I've always wanted to do. I've wanted to act. I wanted to direct for the fiction format. I had been directing documentaries. But I'm like, I wish the universe makes this possible, and it did. Like in 2021, I got a call from Nabil Qureshi after he had seen an audition tape of mine that I did for him back in 2018 or 19, and he called and he's like, I'm making this film Khel Khel Mein, and I'd like to offer you this role which is Ruksa, who was a Bangladeshi protagonist in the film. And as I accepted that and got to debut on such a big platform,
really big platform,
I think things spiraled from that point. And while I still am an illustrator and I still am a journalist, that work is still continuing. But I think I've been able to very fortunately find very passionate, very kind, very magnanimous creatives who have welcomed me into the fiction world as well. So I'm acting and balancing and juggling these things.
That's what I really love, and I've always told Zehra this. I love how she balances so many different things together. It's very exciting, and I mean, I don't think it's something everyone can do. Also, Marimali, hello. She's saying hi. That's wonderful. So we'll go deeper into your projects in just a bit. So Zehra, you are also into acting and direction, among other things. So can you tell us a little bit about some of your most cherished direction projects? And for people who might be new to this, and also to myself, what is the role of a director? And how do you prepare yourself for each new project?
Okay, so the director is essentially the captain of the ship.
Okay.
Right? So they are it's the vision of the director, and then the director is the one responsible for putting the team together and then managing that team.
Right.
And so it's a real position of responsibility, and you get to dictate what the energy of your set will be, who are the people you want to work with, and so really making that decision of who is going to be a director of photography, doing the auditions to get your actors, who will be doing your light design, who will be editing. So all these decisions are yours, and of course the creative vision, like when you read the script, how do you creatively want to bring this vision to the camera?
Right.
Or if it's a documentary film, then you have a certain vision. How do you then go about shooting it, putting the story together?
Okay.
So the captain of the ship is who the director is.
Right.
And in terms of my own projects, I really love the field that I'm in. I feel very fortunate that with a lot of excitement and with a lot of joy, I wake up and go to work.
Excellent.
So I think every project as a director and a co-director has been so special. But I would probably say my first big sort of documentary project was Home Truths, which I did for the Herald magazine, and that was with Daniel Shah.
Okay.
We were traveling between Islamabad, Quetta, Karachi, as we did a long investigative piece on the Afghan refugees in Pakistan, and I think I learned a lot from Daniel Shah. I think working with someone who is a established documentary filmmaker, but also I worked with the editor of the magazine at the time was Badr Alam Saab, and so there was a lot of confidence that he gave me in my own voice, and I think that's something you need as you work towards becoming a director, that there's a confidence that you need in your vision, in your voice, in your ability to make certain judgments, in your ability to derive certain stories. And in documentary filmmaking especially, I was conducting the interview, so to be able to keep your pulse on the story, being able to get the right characters, okay, this is the person whose story I want to go into, and just getting the right kind of guidance. So I think that was a very special project, and that project went on to then become part of the traveling German pavilion of the Venice Biennale. So it got really good viewership.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, as a filmmaker, suddenly you're like, oh cool,
That's so
there are so
cool,
many
yeah.
different people watching it and giving you good feedback.
Absolutely.
And then of course there was the Capri art documentary that I was co-director on.
Yeah.
And that was really special because that was produced by a Canadian producer. Her name is Althea Thorberger. And so I think all these projects also kind of helped me while the work was being done in Pakistan. It had this international exposure, or they were international viewers and an international production. So we
Yeah.
had Home Truths, which eventually made its way to international
Yeah.
audiences, or be
Yeah.
it something like the Mad 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 Film World, which of course was premiered at the Karachi Biennale, went on to then be screened at the Contemporary Art Gallery in Vancouver, and
Wow.
in just multiple places. It's been at the Hinterland Venice, and it's traveling around the globe. So suddenly you're interacting with curators and film festival organizers from
Yeah.
different.
Exactly.
So I think it just gave me a different kind of
Confidence,
confidence, and gives you certain connections. And as I was now shifting to Canada, this project was very special because suddenly I had people in Canada who knew me,
Yeah.
whose work I knew, who could kind of give me a certain kind of guidance as I was navigating this film career in
Yeah.
Canada. And this is about 2019 now.
19, yeah.
But after that, I think as a director, of course, so this was also me co-directing. It was a short film called Farzana, which
Yeah.
was my first foray into fiction direction,
Okay.
which I did with the lovely Zehra Nawab. It was a script that she had, and she was somebody whom I was introduced by Althea, who was producing the film that I just mentioned, Mad 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 Film World, which was about the Capri Cinema in Karachi. So I think it just, and that collaboration was so special because she had a script and she wanted to work with me. She was the director, I was a co-director, and that was a very special to, of course, because I directed theatre. I had that ability to direct actors. I understood how to communicate with them, what it is that, and I loved working on that script. But it also really gave me an insight into how Canadian sets work. How do you hire,
So it was different from Pakistan?
Very
Yeah.
different.
Really?
How do you write a contract? What is your role
Wow.
as a director on a Canadian film? So, there was, so that was very special in that
Wow.
way. And of course, I got a chance to travel to Vancouver then for the Vancouver Film Festival,
yeah,
where it was
absolutely.
screened. So that was
Yeah.
really nice, and I think
That's really cool.
So
I love that you've had
everything
such
has
rich experiences both in Pakistan and in Canada.
yeah, and
you
they've
know?
all been sort of interlinked.
Yeah, they've been absolutely.
They have been,
absolutely.
and I think, and I guess one that I will mention right now is something Mariam Paracha and I are directing right now is a documentary film.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
which SOC Films is producing. We've received a grant.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
it's been-
I have
it's been
an
cool-
entire
cool
question
work.
on that, and we're going to delve into it even deeper
good.
because I really want to know about this. Excellent. So, by the way, hi Halima and Mariam. Mariam is saying that convince Shanti to take questions. In fact, thank you for reminding me. If anybody has any questions, there is a little box here with the speech bubble and question mark. So just add the questions there, and we will take them at the end.
Ooh.
Thanks, guys, and hello, Hiba.
Hi, friends. Thank you for
thank you
tuning in.
thank you for tuning in. Okay, so Zehra, now let's move to your acting career, which has been so exciting. So Rukhsar, which was your silver screen debut in Khel Khel Mein. It was a very well received character, very well played character. So firstly, congratulations. And now, in terms of your preparation for this role, because this was she was from Bangladesh, so her accent was supposed to be different. What was your preparation for this role, and generally your experience of working on a Nabil Qureshi film set?
It was a very surreal experience because I genuinely have been a huge fan of
Yeah.
his work.
Yeah.
So I was very honored to be under his direction.
Yeah.
So when I was approached for this role, what I did to prepare for it was a couple of things. One, I went to Khalid Ahmed Saab, who is a very well-known actor and director and a teacher of theatre. He's somebody that I've studied with earlier. So I went to the National Academy of Performing Arts and I sat with them and I said, this is the script, how do I prepare, what are the inflections that I should be working on? And he himself has lived in, at that time, East Pakistan. So he gave me a lot of very important insights. But one of the loveliest things he did was that he put me in touch with the costume and with the makeup professor at Napa.
Okay.
And he was such an incredible elderly gentleman with whom I had sittings, and he himself is Bengali. So he really he was so he'd be like, "Acha, dialogue पढ़ के सुनाओ," and then he'd be like, "अच्छा ये बहुत over हो रहा है, like ये caricaturize कर रही हो, just soften it." If you just he kind of told me what the 3-4 sounds are that I should be keeping in mind. He's like, अगर तुम बस इसको softly, इसको बस include कर लो, then it'll seem more natural. Don't overdo it. And so I really practiced with him, and but it was really sweet because it was my first time doing a feature film. I remember I really didn't know that you dub later on. So I showed up because I remember when Nabeel Qureshi approached me with this, and there was I think hardly 2 or 3 weeks until the shoot was starting, or maybe even hardly a month. Like, it was very less time. So I was just stressed out. Nabeel, how do I do this? I'm sending you my accent. Does it sound nice? And be like, yeah, it's okay. Like, and I was like, why is he
not caring enough?
And when I showed up to set, he's like, man, no, but I'm not getting you'll be dubbing like in September. I'm like, oh, okay, so it's February. I have time. So it was cute, but I'd already worked on the accent, so it helped because I was able to get those pauses
and the way you move your mouth is a little different.
It is different,
so that's
right?
Important,
and I could make my acting a little, like, it really influenced my acting. But
Absolutely.
I did a lot of research as well because I wanted to understand what my characters' grievances were, why it is that basically she is the representative of a theatre festival happening in Dhaka, which is where this theatre group from Karachi arrives.
Absolutely.
And she isn't happy at all to be hosting them. There's a lot of baggage that she carries, so I wanted to understand what that was. So of course there was a lot of reading and talking to people, making her, I had to like her. I had to make her believable. I had to make her she wasn't, we are all products of our own histories. We're all products of what it is that we've been taught, of our own environments. So I tried my best to understand that and portray her with as much empathy and love. She was a really sweet character.
Because you could see that she's annoyed at them, and then in the end there's such an atmosphere of love and cherishing the other person when they're parting. So I love that transition in that film. Changiz saying hi Changiz, thank you for tuning in.
Hello.
But also, like, now that we're talking about acting, you've acted on stage and in a big feature film, right? I don't know how to explain this, but like, what are the differences between acting on stage and then in front of a camera?
I feel very lucky that my journey started with theatre. I think theatre trains you to prepare your role to a certain amount of perfection before you go in front of an audience. So I'm glad that I had that kind of background. They do say that the theatre is an actor's medium. So the minute you're on stage, the actor can take on the, you can pause whenever you want. You can add, it can be a different performance every time. The director can no longer actively intervene with the actor's performance.
Exactly.
The film is very much a director's medium, and that's something that so often. So as an actor, like you have to really actively surrender to the director's vision, because a lot of times you don't even know how scenes are, going to be edited together.
You don't know what's going to happen.
Like, for example, my first day on set, the scene is like a scene 1, which is 3 pages long, but it's shot in sections because the director wants the first 2 dialogues to be set with this background, and then you go to the bus and the remaining 3 dialogues are there, and then you get off the bus. So that's how the directors envision it, right? But on script, it's just
Different,
it's just a dialogue, like
Just
a
a di-
series of lines.
Exactly.
In theater, you can imagine it very easily because when you're rehearsing, it's all in flow.
Yes.
So in film, there is that a kind of discretion of the director on how they choose to divide scenes, and so you have to kind of really keep track of, okay, what is this connecting with, what emotion do I have to carry forward, like those things in theater में बहुत naturally हो रही होती हैं.
But I think there's more room for making mistakes when you're working from the camera. So has it ever been very daunting for you, either in terms of remembering lines or just other things, or have you been comfortable relatively on stage?
Yeah, stage is very intimidating.
Yeah.
Like especially right now, as you mentioned, like I'm doing this play in transit. In Toronto.
Yeah.
I've received the script and it's this thick.
Oh my god!
And
Wow.
and it scares you that you can't mess up a line because
Yeah.
it's there are 4 other actors on stage with you, so there's a very different kind of discipline and training that you need for stage. But film is incredible. Like, I love the permanence of film.
Yeah.
I really love that. Like, I love that it's a work that you've done a year ago, but you can still send someone a link, people can watch it,
years
people
later.
can so it's documented in that way. And also with film, it's I think another thing that I really enjoyed is just how close the audience can get to your expression.
That's true. Yeah.
There is lesser. There's so much room for you can tell certain stories through. You can use your hands for gestures, but also like your eyes and your face, like the audience can see, and I really like that.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Okay, so now that we're on the topic of acting, can you tell us a little bit about Spin-Over? It's such an exciting character.
So
cricketer,
I play cricketer who returns to the sport after taking a break.
Yeah.
As this character focuses on her family and her babies at the time, so it's her return to professional cricket. So another thing was, it was a really very cool character, and it's a Canadian film with a South Asian as the lead, so that itself was a very special thing to be a part of. And I think so that's the
it's very
story.
exciting. So, and is this something? So this was also this is a short film, right?
Yes.
And fingers crossed, there might be the possibility of it also becoming a TV series.
Yeah.
Right?
So how it worked out was that initially it was made as a short film.
Yeah.
And that's what I was cast as. And then the director, who was Shazia Javed, she received a grant to develop the story for a web series, for which we were fingers crossed. We are hoping that we
definitely
get funding, and we get a platform on which we can showcase Hina's story in a longer format.
Inshallah,
But very, very special.
When I saw that, when I watched the little clip, I was like, this is something that can go really big. And I really hope it does, because it's a very exciting character. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and it's very endearingly written.
Very endearingly written. And it showcases the story of a woman who's trying to manage her home, but also doesn't want to let go of her dream, or going back to her dream, right?
Yeah. It's very relatable.
It's a very relatable story.
Yeah.
And also encouraging for a lot of people who feel like they're stuck in their lives, and there's only one thing to look forward to, but I don't think that you can go back to your passion at any point in your life.
That's so true.
So it's such a
That's so true, and I think
story.
I will mention here that like the short film, I shot while during the very initial stages of my pregnancy. So it was very special in that way. And then when we found out that it is being developed into a web series, so we had a chance to shoot like a pilot and some trailer scenes. So that is when my baby was 4 months old. So this project also really linked with what was going on in your
actual life,
where there were so many anxieties that I was also facing. That will I be able to get back to work? What will you have to take a break for a few months, and how
Maybe.
long can I take? Will I be able to, take on the physicality of this role?
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, even to me on a personal level, it was a very encouraging, motivating role and project.
That's wonderful.
So yeah, it was,
and I really, really,
fingers
truly
crossed.
hope that we get to see it on TV.
Yeah, and right
Inshallah.
now it'll be the short film is being screened at the UK Asian Film
Yes,
Festival.
yes.
So it's also been
Listed
it's one
for
of the
the prize.
finalists for the short film
Which is
prize.
just
so
amazing. Woohoo!
Fingers
Good luck,
crossed.
Zehra Nawab. Good luck. That's truly amazing. And if you could briefly just tell us a little bit about your upcoming role in Transit and also in Dir Sabha.
Yeah, so theatre, as I mentioned, is just always been my favorite. So
Yeah.
this year, at the beginning of this year, I was in Karachi.
I know. Yeah, literally the way it sort of happened.
Okay,
Yeah.
January, May, basically we did Indar Sabha, which is the first documented theatre play ever written in Urdu. तो वाजिद अली शाह जो लास्ट रूलर ऑफ अवध थे उन्होंने लिखवाया था 1854 की लिखी हुई तहरीर है जो शीमा किरमानी ने और अनवर जाफरी साहब ने डायरेक्ट की एंड इट वाज an honor and a privilege to be directed by Shima Karmani. Truly, it was so just got to learn so much from her. I think it was a dream come true. I really had been wanting to. I mean, I've grown up really. We watched her theatre and her. And I think I've also really been inspired by her style of telling a story on the theatre stage. So very special project. And then this summer, then I'll be doing In Transit, which is the story of. It's cool. She's an astrophysicist. Who. Well, essentially, I think it's a story of this. Of a changing Canada and how this girl who lives in a small, very white Canadian town, and this town is now, the landscape of the city is now changing as immigrants are coming in and they're bringing in, their own style of cuisines and decor and homes, and so it's about her relationship and friendship with this elderly white gentleman who frequents the restaurant that her brother runs, and so it's their friendship and the conversations that ensue and how biases exist on both ends, struggles exist on both ends, but how do you find a commonality and can you find a friendship between the differences?
Absolutely.
So
That's
I'm really looking forward to
wonderful. Good luck with that.
essaying,
So this is in the summer, right?
Yes, so this will be at the Toronto Fringe Festival. This will be July. Of this
Wonderful.
year. Yeah.
Okay, Zehra, now tell us about a typical day in your life.
Oh man. As someone who is currently a freelancer and I'm taking on projects, each day is different, and I like that. It's also these days because I'm also. I think the primary role these days is being a mama. So
yes, of course.
The day starts with Mahinur waking up and spending. I make sure she's fed and I give her breakfast, spend time with her.
Yeah.
And then simultaneously, I do try in the mornings and I reply to my emails, coordinate. Because I'm directing the documentary these days, so then it's often the afternoons where we're having our meetings, we're reviewing footage, and then so it's the afternoon time that I often then go out to do my shoot, or that's what it's utilized in. And then I try being very mindful that the evenings are then spent at home. There's family time, but then I return to work at a later, like after dinner sort of time. That's like these days where in the transcribing stages of the documentary interview. So that's what I'm doing, transcribing, creating the paper edit, what will the film look like. So I think I need that quiet time at night.
Absolutely.
Or even if I'm not actively sitting on the laptop, just sitting with my thoughts and writing things down on my phone as I think of links between different scenes we've shot. So I like the quietness of the night. And I think I've somehow managed to survive on lesser sleep. So
Yeah, I think you've always done that because
Yeah.
there's so many things that you do. A lot of time management is required. Also, going in different headspaces. You know, it's not just simply doing different things, but in order to do those things successfully, you need to be in that space. You know, and I get that. So it's wonderful how you're able to do those things.
Thank you.
And so, and you're not just managing doing different things in your career, but you're also navigating a career between Canada and Pakistan, right? So, so can you tell us that as a South Asian female, how did you manage to create your space in a new place, in a new country? How receptive were they to you, to someone who's new in their creative world? And also, you can add to this question that what are the perks and challenges of managing a career in both countries?
And so of course, creating a career in Pakistan was it because my schooling has all been in Pakistan, in Karachi actually. So I did my O levels from Convent Jesus Mary. I went to
Yes.
Karachi Grammar School for my A levels. Went to Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture for my undergraduate.
Yes.
Then started working with the Dawn. So I was working with the Herald magazine as a multimedia journalist. So I just felt like things were this one thing after the other, and you form your own network alongside you're doing internships, and eventually you figure out what kind of field you want to be in. And things were going well. I was really enjoying my work as a journalist and a documentary filmmaker. And then when the time to move to Canada came, it was a very daunting, very intimidating time, because suddenly that context within which you existed is taken away, and it's
Exactly.
a completely new space that you're in, and there were little things which you just sending out emails for jobs, sending it to different resumes, like those
That
were,
you probably didn't have to do here.
that, because I remember with in this, you put up your thesis, different people came and saw it, they asked 2-3 places would say, "Acha, come meet us." You went for interviews, one place offered, you did it, and I just continued working at the Herald till I till it shut down actually. So yeah, Canada. But you know what, I when I look back, and I feel very, very grateful for,
Yeah.
was the fact that I with the Herald, my relationship continued as I went to Canada.
Really?
And I really credit my editor for that. Like when I went to Canada, I took with me Home Truths, so which was the long form investigative piece on the Van refugees.
Right.
So as I landed in Canada, that was the piece that I was writing. So it kind of
Right.
kept me
Connected.
anchored. It kept me connected, and
Yeah.
it made me feel like, okay, I have to get up and I have to dedicate these number of hours to my writing. I need to be Daniel Shah and I were in touch. We're working on the edit of the documentary. So it kept me grounded, and it didn't make me feel like, oh my god, I've lost my connection, any of that thing.
Yeah.
So from the very get-go, that connection remained, right?
Excellent. Yeah.
And based on that, like for example, there was there was a film or a documentary filmmakers meetup that happened. So I went there, and I was able to speak with confidence, like, yeah, this is the film I'm working on these days, this is the piece it wasn't like, oh, I've worked on something many years ago.
Yeah.
So it was very much like, yeah, I'm a working creative right now, and I was able to make certain friends through that, who then guided me, and there was a collaboration that I was able to do with Manu, who was directing there's Bell Media Group in Canada. So they were putting together an interview series.
Okay.
So yeah, I ended up being their researcher and script writer. तो इस तरह से एक कनेक्शन आपका बिल्ड होता गया. फिर एक मीटिंग में गए तो उन्होंने कहा कि ओके, your questions are really good and your research, so why don't you conduct the interviews? And उसमें then I start, so like एक के बाद एक वो, you have to kind of I think I step in and take smaller steps. Like you can't I remember one of my elders saying कि don't ever compare your journey.
Right.
Had I stayed in Karachi, this is where I would have been at this point. It's a completely new journey, and take it as that. Take on whatever offers you're getting, and it might be here, if I was writing like a cover story, there, I'll be honest, it did sometimes you'd be like, oh man, I'm like researching such a small project, or I'm this I could have, but you can't. You have to actively shut that sort of thought process down, because then eventually it leads to your work ethic being recognized, your work discipline being recognized, and you getting the kind of work that you want to.
I think in new country it might take a little bit of time, but if you have talent and you're hardworking, it will be recognized.
So
I think that does happen. So consistency is important. That's I think very
and
important.
And exactly because my family is in Karachi, as in my parents and siblings. So whenever I traveled back, I would, and every year I have been back during the winters, and that's where work happens in Karachi. Like during your December to February sort of time, that's where things are being shot. And,
absolutely.
So I was able to somehow, often, I do reach out to people. Okay, I'm in town. If there's any work, it'd be lovely to collaborate. Or I try and do meetings. Just one of these trips, something like Khel Khel mein worked out. I was able to do Qatil Hasinaon Ke Naam, which Meenu directed. I was able to like right now do Inder Sabha. I did Velo Sound Station. I've done a project here. So when I go back to Canada, which I'll be heading there. So I already have work lined up. Like I know I'm doing the theatre play and doing a short film. So वो फिर कुछ organically भी चलता है, but also I'll be honest, like I do, especially when you're doing freelance project based work, like you have to, with intention, with focus, apply for things and tell people कि अच्छा, if there are auditions, let me know, or डायरेक्शन आप ग्रांट्स के लिए अप्लाई करें, या आपको एक्टिवली करना पड़ता है. एंड एक मरतब आपका एक इस्टेब्लिश हो जाता है, लोगों के साथ एक कनेक्शन बन जाती है, तो फिर पीपल ऑल्सो स्टार्ट अप्रोचिंग यू, वीव थॉट ऑफ यू, लेट्स वर्क टुगेदर ऑन दिस. तो वो दोनों बस चल रहा है, बट इट्स ऑल्सो वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस, ट्राइंग टू फिगर आउट good projects in both places and trying to juggle both. वो भी मुश्किल लगता है कभी कभी, not being able to do something. Like अभी I remember being approached with this really lovely drama which is going, being aired these days on TV, and I remember talking to you about it कि जब वो they asked me कि oh, can you come work on this. So it was last year, August, September, ऐसे कुछ था, तो I couldn't fly back at that time.
Of course,
So उस बास चीज़ों में तकलीफ होती है कि oh man, like this project would have worked out, so and so cool, but वो फिर आपको ये voices off करनी पड़ती है to remain positive and go like अच्छा, जहाँ मैं हूँ अभी उसकी opportunities अच्छी तरह से avail करूँ, अच्छा काम करूँ, and कि जो आपकी
what's meant for you
will come to
you, and you will be there for it. Absolutely.
I think here I just like to mention this one story. So I remember early 2020, February 2020, I got an offer from Nabil Qureshi's team actually, and this was for this film that they were making, Qaeda Azam Zindabad. And I remember they called. I was in Canada, and they were like, I was so excited. I oh my god, this is role. It was the first time, like I hadn't done acting at this scale, like on film, and they said कि बस कुछ दिनों में ही हम लोग शूट स्टार्ट करें. मैंने कहा मैं इतना जल्दी नहीं आ सकती हूँ, can you give me a little. They're like नहीं बस इतना ही टाइम है. And then I was like, eventually it was just like अच्छा ठीक है, हम किसी और से पूछ लेंगे, and it ended. I remember I was so sad कि it didn't happen. But a year later, February 2021, I got Khel Khel mein, and I got the role of Rukhsar, which kind of was really an integral part of the story. Had so much room for performance, and I felt very proud to be associated with that role. So I really I think ये चीज़ उसके बाद से मुझ में बहुत एक एतमाद आ गया है कि जो चीज़ आपकी है वो आपके पास आएगी. और शायद इन दैट मोमेंट अभी आपको लग रहा होता है कि मैन ये प्रोजेक्ट नहीं आया, ये अगर हो जाता तो कितना अच्छा होता, बट देयर इज समथिंग planned for you which is supposed to be the best for you.
Absolutely.
So keep your faith in that, and put your head down and keep working slowly with with integrity and discipline and humility.
Absolutely, that's a wonderful answer. Okay, so just a reminder for everybody who's asking questions, there's this speech bubble with a question mark in it. If you could just put in the questions there, and we'll take them all together at the end. Thank you. And Zehra, now moving on to the grant that you and Mariam Paracha received from SOC this year. It's really, really cool. Can you tell us about the grant and what your experience has been learning from the workshops and your process of working on it?
So Shameen Bay Chinoy Films has a grant which is called the Pataha Films film grant, and we've received that for a documentary that we're making on the work of Shima Kirmani, Tehreek-e-Niswan, theatre practitioners in Karachi, and theatre being a tool of activism in a society like ours. We were very fortunate that we got accepted for this. There were multiple rounds of applications, of preparing your budget, of preparing your story arcs. I think from the get-go was a very great training ground because Mariam Paracha and I both learned how it is that you really visualize an idea for a documentary and put it down on paper and pitch it to a producer, and what is it that back and forth with the producer and creative is like. And then it was really lovely. I think it was first week of January when we got a video call from Shameen Obechinoy herself, and she said, "Okay, we liked your project and you've been selected." So it was very special. We started work. We've been shooting, and what's been really helpful about this has been the mentorship program. I think especially when you're a mid-career creative, you crave that being in new knowledge, being in a classroom setting almost, being with people whom you can discuss your questions, anxieties, stresses, or just learn from. So the mentor allocated to us is Jessie Epstein, who is a professor at the Emerson. Okay, we're back.
Guys, we're back. We're sorry about that. Apparently you guys couldn't hear us in the last 5 minutes. So if anyone's online right now, please do let us know that you can hear us. I think nobody is, but it'll take just a couple of seconds and we'll aa jayenge. But yeah, Zehra, we were I
think documentary की बात हो रही थी कि I think it is one of जो आप शुरू में पूछ रही थी कि how does one juggle between or shuttle between these two places.
Countries,
so
exactly.
One of them is that you carry work from one place to another, sort of a thing कि जैसे यहाँ पे पूरी अगर shoot complete हो गई, so as I go to Canada now, where I will be doing the theatre play, so I have time there to work on my paper edit, work on a story arc कि ये story बन कैसे रही है, उसकी edit पे आप काम कर सकते हैं. You can have conversations with your co-director and your editor. So वो इस तरह से connection भी दोनों जगहों का रहता है, and you can gain so much from expertise from both countries.
Absolutely. And we were then talking about your illustration projects. So your book cover, which you illustrated, Sita Under the Crescent Moon by Annie Ali Khan, which was posthumously published by Simon & Schuster, and then we will talk about the cookbook that you illustrated in Canada. So tell us about illustration and your journey there.
तो इसमें यही था कि as I was mentioning कि there was I've always enjoyed drawing. I had art in school, and of course studied illustration and drawing at university. लेकिन जब मैंने काम शुरू किया तो Herald magazine में as an editorial illustrator काम करने को मिला, because I was basically working as a multimedia journalist, which means आपका documentary film or investigative written format journalism चल रहा है, लेकिन साथ साथ I would also illustrate for my stories or for other journalists' stories. So that I really enjoyed, being able to read long form research and see how me as a illustrator, as a creative, responds to them. So I never took illustration as a क्या कहेंगे कोई सिर्फ एक खूबसूरत तस्वीर ब्यूटिफाई करने के लिए कोई चीज़ नहीं थी. It was your commentary, your engagement with this topic as a thinking creative mind, right? तो उसके इतने मज़े के challenges और एक बैक एंड फोर्थ होती थी जर्नलिस्ट के साथ और एडिटर के साथ और आपके क्या ख्याल आते हैं. सो उसमें एक बहुत अच्छी ट्रेनिंग हुई. एंड ऑफ कोर्स मेरी जो पहली कवर स्टोरी थी हेरल्ड मैगजीन के साथ वो थी दिस we worked on the history and economy of truck art, in which literally Annie Ali Khan and I were traveling through the country. I was a journalist, she was a photojournalist, and we really developed a wonderful bond, friendship, camaraderie, mentor-mentee wali ek relationship unke saath ban gayi thi. And yeah, she wrote a book, Sita Under the Crescent Moon, which is about different pilgrimage worship sites in Pakistan, and as she travels through the country to these places, spaces that women pilgrims inhabit, and I felt so touched at that point when she asked me to illustrate her map for her book, and she gave me her manuscript and said कि अच्छा ये बस अब edit हो रही है और show me कि तुम किस तरह से इसका map बनाओगे, just illustrating the journey. So I showed her a few references and she said okay ठीक है. And after this conversation, I think hardly 2 weeks later she passed away, and so I think the relationship with this project became very different. It wasn't any regular illustration project. The publishers then actually asked me to illustrate the cover. They said okay, if Annie trusted you with her vision, she liked your illustration style, and they'd seen my map like by the time I had made it, so they were like अच्छा फिर आप cover भी करें. तो बहुत special था, and I think it really almost contributed to my healing process. Like it was my way of engaging with Annie's words, crying as I wrote it.
Incredibly emotional for you as well.
And at that time, and I think I felt lucky that I was also then surrounded by a team that knew her work. Like the editor was somebody who Annie knew very closely, and so we'd be grieving together, but also we had to get the work done.
Absolutely,
and there was that drive कि नहीं Annie की किताब publish होनी है.
Absolutely.
And of course, just with the a publisher of that stature and caliber, of course, is kind of, it leads to really cool projects.
Absolutely,
तो
That's so
different
cool,
illustrations mainly इसी तरह के रहे हैं, different literary magazines and books, and so most of that work has been in Canada now.
And you're still doing it. You're still illustrating.
So there's a literary magazine जिसके cover पे आया, अभी एक cookbook आई है which is by the lovely Simab Raza, Savory Reminiscence उसका नाम है. And I'll actually share उसकी designs on my Instagram, so stay tuned. I think I'll be putting that up soon. तो वो बहुत अच्छा लगता है जब आपके पास किताबों को illustrate करना is really special, because और किताबें या even long form pieces, I find that really special because you have so much material to delve into. You have so many elements that jump at you, and my work is that type. Like there's always I like the viewer engaging with it at different levels, like noticing different things. There's always a lot of detail and different elements. Like even Sita Under the Crescent Moon का cover जो था वो, if you open out the sleeve तो वो पूरी एक it's one long illustration. Even like वो front or back भी अलग भी, you can see it as independent designs, but if you roll it all up तो अंदर के folds, it all ties into one big story almost. It's like that journey जो Annie ने capture की है अपनी writing में. So I love I think there was this one magazine, I should have brought these with me, but I'll put them up. There was this literary magazine I did in which the cover has this astronaut looking out of their
I love that illustration.
Window, but at the back you can see through the other window मतलब उसकी back है, you can see what he's watching on the TV.
That's so interesting.
So like that kind of thing of like the front and the back. I like playing with these elements, and I feel lucky that I think when you've been working for a few years, people also know your style, so then they approach you for it. And if they give you that freedom and that space, अच्छा ठीक है, that's your canvas, now create. It feels really gratifying.
That's so cool. And Zehra, so now when it comes to the topic of role models and mentors, do you believe that these are important to have in life and to be one for other people?
Oh man, absolutely. I feel so fortunate कि सही लोग आपको मिलें, good people kind of take you under their wing to guide you, that they're good people whom you can learn from. It's a very, very, I think there's no better institution than that. And I can name so many people, like I genuinely, like, I think Ani Ali Khan, Badr Alam Saab, Saman Ghani, udhar Canada mein just countless people who've, you know, Haad ho gaya, Manu, people who've Victoria, people who've taken me under their wing and really guided me with so much ownership and love. Lisa, they, and I feel so indebted and grateful that if I ever come across somebody who in any capacity I can help out, or if they want to talk to me for any guidance, I try being as available for them as possible. I remember, I'll just say something small that Ani Ali Khan actually said to me. She, it was my last meeting with her as I was leaving, you know, I was catching my flight. She said to me, "Ke Zehra, sometimes in life you meet someone who reminds you of a younger version of yourself." And she said, in you I found that. So I really, you know, as a younger version of myself, I took you under my wing and guided you. So she said, whenever you meet someone who reminds you of yourself, and you know, you can relate to their struggles and your younger days, show up for them and be there for them and help them out. And I try and hold on to those words, because I think that's always a cycle of kindness, which is so
absolutely. And you don't know when you're in a position where, you know, that person might show up for you. You never know when that might happen, you know. It's definitely a cycle. And I think in any field, generally as human beings, we need each other. We need each other's support. And there are times when, you know, you just never know when that connection blossoms into like a nice friendship, and you can be like in many different ways, collaborations and other things.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Zehra, which qualities do you believe you have that make you successful? Or if you want to answer differently, what qualities are important for success?
I believe discipline, service, courtesy,
unity, faith, and discipline.
But I think those answers can work. Like so discipline for sure. Good time management. I think good people skills. I feel I really think that especially in our fields, like the creative fields, or when you're doing project-based work, you need to have the ability to communicate with someone, to understand their point of view, to show up with kindness, to have a healthy work environment that people can work with, to be just a good person that people want to collaborate with. So just having a nice personality, and being earnest with your work, and to never be arrogant about what your skill set is. I think to constantly be to keep yearning for to better yourself, be it through workshops, be it through watching YouTube videos, be it through whatever, going to university again. There's so many ways of just constantly. It's very important that leads to success. Never ever thinking that you have perfected your craft. So, and you know, just adding on to your skill set as well. Like अगर आपने you know, camera work करना आ गया है, तो थोड़ा बहुत you know, चलो एडिटिंग भी सीख लेते हैं, लाइटिंग भी सीख लेते हैं, you know, just to remain curious about your industry, about your work, about the world around you. So discipline, kindness, work hard, be a nice person to work with, be punctual.
These are really good points. I think punctuality is not a very common thing in Pakistan. No, but it absolutely makes sense. And Zehra, when it comes to, you know, the different areas that you have worked in and are interested in, which includes film acting, theatre acting, journalism, illustration, what comes to you most easily?
Acting.
Really, it's just the most natural thing.
It's the most natural. I still remember we were sitting with some of my colleagues, and this is when I done this short film for Cornetto. So this is like 2017, I think, and it was this short ad film almost, and
I remember that. It was so cute.
It was really
It was
cute.
really cute.
But I remember when I was so, of course, nervous कि वो camera and all those things. But I remember I was sitting with people who were my journalism colleagues, and I was doing illustration and documentary film with all of them, and I said that I have never felt this confident doing
Wow.
any project there. I don't think I feel as confident as a journalist, or as an illustrator, or
Yeah.
as I felt when I'm acting, even though
That's
like at
amazing.
that time I remember saying, even though this was my first time doing something like this,
Yeah.
but I felt like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there
that's
is that
so
kind
cool.
of, with acting I really do feel like it's one of those things where I think that's what I am sent on this
Yeah,
planet
you
for.
get a feeling
get
that there are some
feeling that
things,
this is
yeah.
what I'm meant to do.
Yeah.
So maybe not like, I think whatever good opportunities I can avail, this is, I love acting.
You love acting.
Yeah.
That's so cool, and it's amazing that you recognize that, and then you kind of made that. I don't know if I should call it a transition, but it sort of moved towards that a little more consciously.
Huh.
That's what it would be.
Yeah.
And Zehra, so in that vein, what would you say to people who don't consider creative fields to be important or valuable? And we see that a lot, even though I think there is more of there's change in mindset, but it's a little slow still. Yeah.
Man, what I will say is that I think art, movement, performance, expression, music, it is so innate to us.
Yeah.
It is in nature. It is everywhere around us, and I genuinely take it as a way of appreciating the world that we've been sent in. I feel more connected to my creator when I look at the musicality that exists in the universe he's created, that if I'm able to honor a talent that I have been gifted with, I think this is me being grateful, and me being genuinely feeling in awe of of the creator in the universe. So
Absolutely.
and I think I remember when there was COVID going on, we were all locked down. It was the arts, it was the
Yes.
performances, it was music, it was films and dramas, and that kept us sane. That kept us going.
Absolutely.
People were picking up paintbrushes, going to canvases to paint, taking out sketchbooks, because that's what we need.
Yeah.
I think it's sometimes in the rut of life and how busy all our office routines and getting home and just responsibilities get, that we sometimes convince ourselves that it isn't something we need.
Yeah.
But it's any form of creative expression, whether you're engaging with it as an audience or whether you're engaging with it as a creator, it's essential to the human
is
experience.
essential,
It really is.
absolutely.
I see it even with my baby now, that you play music and she just she
loves
moves,
it.
she grooves. You show her any a colorful painting and she says,
Yeah.
wow. So I think it's unfair to
Dismiss.
to dismiss it, or to not allow ourselves to
Explore these
explore
areas.
and engage with it and love it.
Absolutely. So the thing is, I think I'll just put in Chungase's question here, like
Yeah.
a quick question. You can give like a brief answer before we move on to the final question for
Yeah.
today. So his question was, can you tell us a little bit about the audition process?
Sure, yeah. Audition processes are pretty much similar across across Canada and Pakistan. Because so even Nabi Qureshi's film, so I went through an audition process. It was a more general audition that I'd given a little bit like 2 years earlier, but so there are two things. One, you have to. So a more general audition is that you show up having had prepared any monologue that you think best showcases your talent. And then there are some auditions which will send you they will send you sides beforehand. So they'll send you the script, and so for example, Okay, let me rephrase this a little bit. That, like for example, these days, I think post-COVID things have changed a little bit because a lot more auditions are happening over Zoom.
Okay.
So what the casting calls often are put up on different platforms, be it there are different groups on Facebook, or be it Mandy, or there are different spaces where calls go up, and they'll be like, okay, submit a demo reel and your CV, and you do that, and then a few weeks later you go like, okay, fine, we'd like to meet you over Zoom. These are the sites. Please prepare this character. They'll give you a bit of a background. You prepare and you go in and you perform it.
Right.
तो इधर होता है कि live आप Zoom पे कर लें, या फिर होता है आप खुद से record करके उनको भेज दें. So both options exist, right? And then callbacks are, again, they'll send you a different set of lines that you have to perform and share with them. But a general audition, which is what I have more so seen in Pakistan, is that it's a monologue of your own choice. And so you can, and इधर भी जैसे कल भी अभी हुए, I think मिज़मा खालिद का एक कोई I think she's directing something, so उसके लिए आर्ट्स काउंसिल में हुए हैं auditions, अक्सर होते रहते हैं. So that is
that's
just,
how it goes.
it's a general audition, and if they like what they see, then they'll give you a more specific set of lines to perform.
Okay, excellent. So Zehra, is there any upcoming project that you'd like to mention here that people can watch out for?
Man, so in Pakistan, there's the Velo sound station.
Yes.
So keep a lookout for Latasha Noorani's video, in which Zashane and I will be performing a choreography that Zashane did.
That's so cool. And is that coming out soon?
Yeah, I think in a few days.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, we're all looking forward to that.
Thank you. And Canadians can please make their way to Toronto to watch In Transit at the Toronto Fringe Festival happening in July.
Again, not too far.
Yes.
So Zehra, we are now moving on to the rapid fire.
Oh God, okay.
Okay, so you can just give one word or one line answers.
Okay.
It's just chilled out thing. Okay, Zehra, your favorite actress or actor and movie?
Okay, so I'll say, I think the first name for some reason is Robin Williams that's coming to my mind. I think just the range of that actor is really awe-inspiring. I have always found that he's been able to do serious work, and also comedy is incredibly difficult to do. When in auditions, I often do a lot of Meryl Streep's work. I think,
really?
I think Kramer vs. Kramer is a film that I really like, and I just think she has been a very fortunate actor that she's often gotten very good monologues to perform and good roles. Viola Davis is someone whose work I really like, and here I felt so honored and privileged that I had a chance to work with Marina Khan, whose work I admire. So many lovely actors. I think even a lot of the newer actors like Sajal Ali, they're doing really good work. Sabah Kamar, I really love her work. I just watched Sarera. So good work all around.
Okay. If you were a Disney character, who would you be?
Esmeralda.
I know this, but the
Hunchback
world.
of Notre Dame.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love her. I actually did an audition for Esmeralda's role in Canada. It was the first thing I did. I showed up, and it was the funniest because it really cannot sing, and it was a theatre play. But I still auditioned. I was like, please.
That's crazy.
That itself was just a dream.
That must be a dream.
They would go, okay, thank you, please go.
That's so much. They wanted someone to sing as well, yeah.
In my little crackly voice.
But just imagine it'll happen. It's fine. They should use someone else for the singing part.
I know they should do like this. Hamaria dubbing hoti. You should introduce it to that part.
Absolutely. Okay, Zehra, what is your Hogwarts house?
Ravenclaw.
Nice.
I did the
You did it?
recently. I was quite sad it was in Gryffindor, but no worries.
Ravenclaw was good.
Was Cho Chang from Ravenclaw?
Yes, I think she was. She was cool. Was there a funny or embarrassing situation you'd like to share? It can be anything. Either from work related would be good, but otherwise it's okay. Anything.
I don't know. Okay, I'll think about it. You asked me anything, so I guess not very.
And it can also just, even if it's not funny or embarrassing, it can just be an experience where you felt like things would go differently, but something else happened. Like you can.
Okay, so I think it has to be like random thing coming in my mind, but so it was one of my acting projects that I was doing on in front of the film camera, and I think I didn't realize कि जब आप so the camera is kind of facing you, but even the actor that you are facing is behind the camera, so the camera isn't looking at them. So I remember like many takes I was doing also, but the actor that I was acting in front of started like making faces, and it was just like doing really random things. They were probably just annoying person, but also they were probably getting bored standing in the heat. So तो वो उसमें गुस्सा भी आया था, हंसी भी आ रही थी. Then I was also feeling embarrassed. Oh God, I should do this quickly.
That's
so so yeah, I think that was funny, but I think also learned how to perform while staring at a very like that person was not giving me the emotions that I had to react and emote to. So
that's really funny. That is very funny. Okay. If you could have an unlimited supply of one thing, what would it be?
Oh man, time.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Everyone needs that, and time seems to fly these days. You just don't have enough time for everything.
And maybe unlimited petrol for a private plane
to travel anywhere. But do you think human beings are such that if you give them, for example, we have 24 hours, if you give us 36 hours, we'll still not be able to manage just because of how we are? I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man, I do think.
Yeah, I do think the same. Okay, advice you'd give your younger self.
First thing that's coming to mind is and I think I have done that, is just hold on to friends very, very closely. Like that's what's the most special relationship, and it grounds and keeps you happy in a very, very, I mean, I don't know, I just, Shanzi and I have been best friends since we were tiny, and we're part of like this lovely group of there's Zara and him.
Oh my God. Okay, so guys, can you please tell us, can you hear us? I really hope that
can you hear? We're just wrapping up, guys.
Yeah, we're just wrapping up. We don't want to make a third part of this.
Can you hear us? What does he want?
I don't understand. I should have called him in the middle and then just. Yes, we can. Okay, they can hear us. Excellent.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, yeah. Okay.
Your advice to your younger self was that
to believe in your coolness and believe in coolness, and like always keep your friends close, which I think I've done a good job.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Okay, Zehra, what's the most special thing about Pakistan and Canada? You can give like one word.
What's the most special thing? I think Canada, I mean, Pakistan is home. It's family and friends, and it's where you've grown up. I think it's a different way that it roots your work, the stories you want to tell, and so.
Go say hi to Zehra's really cute friend from Lyceum.
Oh,
does he mean himself?
I think so.
Hi, Asad.
Hi, Asad.
To tell that story as well, how you and Asad met.
I think with Canada, it's a completely new canvas.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes that brings with it an excitement, also a new set of people to learn from.
Yeah.
But then I think I genuinely do. I always come to Pakistan and I feel very recharged by the people here, by the stories here, by just being in an environment where you don't have to explain yourself. I think that's always special. But there's such cool work happening in both countries. लेकिन Canada का एक अलग मुख्तलिफ तरह के लोगों से आपको सीखने का मिलता है, तो वो चीज़ बहुत अच्छी है.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, what's the most interesting thing in your wallet or purse?
Most interesting thing, million receipts, which I don't know why I have. I should just throw them. Stickers. I have stickers.
Stickers for what?
I don't know.
Stickers? Like, what do you do with them? You paste them on random people's
Man, but I really like
pages.
stickers. So my laptop screen,
Oh, so
my
those kind
back
of stickers,
has
yeah.
lots of stickers. So like whenever I go somewhere and I find stickers,
Ah,
I
you buy
just keep
stickers.
buying and I put them in my.
Okay.
But now I've just
Purse.
accumulated a bunch of stickers in my wallet.
Okay, now the final question for today, Zehra. What makes you truly happy?
Aww. Being with nice, kind people, like when you feel safe and you really be yourself.
Yeah.
Being in spaces where you feel celebrated, where you can talk about work, you can connect. I think that makes me happy, and then just doing good work brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
Really, it does. So just very grateful for good collaborations.
And being on the art lounge talks also makes you really
Yes.
happy, doesn't it?
brings me a lot of joy.
Makes me really happy.
And
Yeah,
I think
wonderful.
cute friends like especially
Yeah.
hi Mariam and Halima, thank you for joining in, and
Oh, they've
some
joined
other
again?
friends,
Awesome.
and what were the questions like? Which they-
Mariam's questions were adorable. She was saying that, oh, you look like what's her name? The actress.
Nimra Bachchan.
Nimra Bachchan. Yeah, so she said
That's
that, and then she was saying other things. She
I
should
hope I get to do cool work like Nimra Bachchan.
Inshallah, why not?
She's also commentarian, so.
Yeah. High five. So yeah, okay. So that is the end of our interview, Zehra. I really enjoyed that, and I think it was fun doing this in person as well. I think that's.
So send Shanzeh feedback that how did this feel.
Please
in
let us know
person.
if you like this horizontal view. It's the first time we've done this as well. Sorry for the glitches that happened in the middle. We're gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. But Zehra, you look beautiful and you're doing amazing work, and thank you for being
I
here.
love you.
Yay!
And thank you to your sweet audiences.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. We will now be uploading this on Instagram and then on YouTube very soon as well. And then please follow Zehra Nawab. It's Zehra.Nawab.
Zehra_Nawab.
Oh, sorry, it's Zehra_Nawab, and she's doing some brilliant work. Hopefully, we'll all get to catch her in like, we'd really love to see your story on television. No, the cricket story that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting the name. Spin over, yes. We want to see that. Okay, bye guys. Thank you for tuning in. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.